Negative temperatures between 4 and 40 degrees Fahrenheit are common. In some areas, thermometers can drop to more than 58 degrees Fahrenheit, below zero. Humans have inhabited these lands for thousands of years. Across generations, they have learned to endure conditions that push the limits of human resilience. Even so, they are not the true protagonists of this environment. The animals that live here are genuine wonders of nature, capable of surviving extreme cold that would threaten the lives of most creatures on the planet. Today, you will discover Siberia in its wildest and most challenging form. Stay with this documentary until the very end and meet extraordinary animals that have developed remarkable strategies to survive in one of the most extreme regions on Earth. Believe it or not, there is an animal that lived through the Ice Age and remains one of the largest herbivores of the far north. Let's begin with the true ghost of this story. I like to think that the Amur leopard does not dominate its territory through brute force, but through absence. It is rarely seen. It rarely leaves obvious signs. It almost never gives a second chance to anyone trying to find it. When the first snowfalls cover the mountains of Russia's far east, the forest completely changes its character. The silence becomes heavier. Rivers freeze. Temperatures can plunge to more than 22 degrees Fahrenheit below zero. In a landscape that seems hostile even to local wildlife, this leopard continues hunting as if it were born for that world. Its scientific name is Panthera pardus orientalis, one of the rarest leopard subspecies in existence. For decades, scientists believed its extinction was almost inevitable. In the early 2000s, estimates suggested that just over 30 individuals remained in the wild. The number was so small that many researchers feared the species would lose its genetic diversity forever. Fortunately, conservation programs in Russia and China prevented the worst outcome. Today, the population exceeds 100 individuals in the wild, yet it remains one of the rarest big cats on Earth. The Amur leopard's habitat is concentrated mainly in Primorsky Krai, in Russia's far east, near the border with China and relatively close to North Korea. It is a region of mountains, deep valleys, dense forests, and snow-covered slopes throughout much of the year. Finding food in Siberia is not an easy task. This predator's menu consists primarily of sika deer, Siberian roe deer, wild boar, young deer, and small mammals. Depending on availability, it may also prey on hares, badgers, and other smaller animals. What is fascinating is that despite the reputation of leopards as opportunistic hunters, the Amur leopard shows an exceptional ability to conserve energy. Another impressive trait is its strength. Although smaller than a Siberian tiger, it can drag carcasses over long distances and conceal them in protected locations. This behavior reduces the risk of losing food to other predators and allows a single kill to provide meals for several days. What comes next is even more impressive. An animal so fierce that it inspired one of Marvel's most iconic characters. But before we continue, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. That way, you'll be alerted whenever a new video is published. You have probably heard the name wolverine before, but what many people do not realize is that it actually exists. Unlike the famous character from movies and comic books, the wolverine is a real animal, incredibly tough, fierce, and adapted to some of the harshest environments on the planet. Its scientific name is gulo gulo. Across Siberia, It roams vast stretches of tundra, taiga forests, and snow-covered mountain ranges for much of the year. Despite its relatively compact size when compared to large carnivores, its reputation is built on extraordinary strength, courage in the face of much larger opponents, and an impressive ability to survive in places where few mammals can thrive. Its diet is extremely varied. This member of the weasel family feeds on reindeer, hares, rodents, birds, and even leftovers abandoned by wolves and bears. During the harshest months, when hunting becomes more difficult, it takes advantage of any available source of energy, locating carcasses buried beneath thick layers of ice thanks to its highly developed sense of smell. This dietary flexibility is one of the reasons it remains a constant presence in remote and hostile regions. The intense Siberian cold is rarely a problem for the species. Its dense fur prevents excessive heat loss, while its wide paws function like natural snowshoes on deep snow. In addition, its efficient metabolism allows it to travel long distances in temperatures that frequently fall far below zero. Its territory can cover hundreds of square miles, depending on resource availability. Solitary individuals cross boreal forests, frozen valleys, and mountainous regions in search of food, covering remarkable distances within just a few days. There are reports of wolverines confronting wolves, driving foxes away from their kills, and even intimidating large predators when defending a valuable food source. This combination of physical endurance, intelligence, and determination has made the wolverine one of the most fascinating creatures of Siberian wilderness. Although it is rarely seen by humans, its presence leaves a lasting mark on the frozen landscape, telling the silent story of a survivor shaped by some of the most extreme environments on Earth. Before we meet one of the most exotic marine mammals on the planet, I would like to ask you, would you have the courage to visit Siberia someday, especially its wildest side? Leave your answer in the comments. In the icy waters of northern Eurasia lives one of the most mysterious creatures on Earth, the narwhal. Often associated with the Arctic Ocean near the northernmost regions of Siberia, this whale spends most of its life in environments dominated by drifting sea ice. Its unique appearance is defined by its long spiral tusk, which can exceed 10 feet in length. For centuries, this remarkable feature fueled legends of sea unicorns among explorers and sailors. To withstand severe temperatures, the narwhal relies on a thick layer of blubber beneath its skin that helps retain body heat. This natural insulation allows it to remain active even in waters near the freezing point. In addition, its circulatory system is adapted to minimize heat loss during long dives. The species prefers deep bays, narrow straits, and seas covered by seasonal ice. In these locations, it finds protection from predators and access to areas rich in food. Its diet consists mainly of fish, squid, and shrimp that inhabit great depths. Capable of diving more than 3,000 feet in search of prey, the narwhal ranks among the most efficient marine mammals in the Arctic. Its famous tusk is actually an elongated tooth containing millions of nerve endings that help it detect changes in the aquatic environment. Studies suggest it can sense variations in temperature, salinity, and pressure. Contrary to popular belief, this structure is rarely used for combat. Narwhals typically travel in small groups, moving through natural corridors between ice flows. In a world shaped by permanent winter, the narwhal represents an extraordinary combination of adaptation, sensitivity, and resilience, surviving in one of the most challenging ecosystems on Earth. And of course, we cannot forget the brown bear. Few animals command as much respect as the enormous brown bears that dominate forests, mountains, and remote valleys throughout Siberia. Some males can exceed 1,300 pounds before winter arrives, building up reserves that will be essential during the most difficult months of the year. Their presence helps shape the ecological balance of vast regions, where they act both as predators and seed dispersers. In many places, they are considered the true rulers of the wilderness. Survival in extreme temperatures depends on an impressive combination of biological adaptations. Their thick fur protects the body from cutting winds, while a substantial layer of fat serves as thermal insulation. When the harshest season arrives, these giants seek secure shelters and drastically reduce their activity levels. Their domain extends across immense areas of the Siberian taiga, as well as mountainous regions and riverbanks rich in natural resources. Each individual may travel great distances in search of food and suitable resting locations. Despite their massive appearance, these animals are surprisingly agile and capable of running at high speeds when necessary. Their extraordinary sense of smell allows them to detect scents from miles away, helping them locate food long before they can see it. Their diet varies throughout the year and includes fish caught during spawning migrations, wild berries, nutritious roots, and occasionally large mammals. During summer and autumn, they spend much of their time feeding intensively to build energy reserves. Females often give birth during their dormant period, keeping their cubs protected inside their dens. Young bears remain with their mothers for years, learning the essential skills needed to survive in a harsh environment. This combination of strength, intelligence, and adaptation has made Siberian bears some of the most impressive mammals in the Northern Hemisphere. Now, let's meet an animal that serves as a source of survival for many people in this region. Unlike the wild animals described above, these animals were domesticated long ago, and without them, many communities would struggle to survive. The reindeer, known in North America as caribou when living in the wild, is one of the most iconic animals of the Arctic and subarctic regions, holding a central place in both human history and the landscape of Siberia. Adapted to vast frozen plains and areas covered with mosses and lichens, it follows the changing seasons on migrations that can span hundreds of miles. Its resilience has allowed it to thrive in environments where few large herbivores can find food year-round. Over the centuries, it has become inseparable from life in the far north. Although some populations live entirely in the wild, most of Siberia's reindeer are closely connected to the nomadic peoples who have inhabited these lands for generations. Communities such as the Nenets, Evenks, and Chukchi depend on these animals for many aspects of daily life. This relationship goes far beyond traditional herding and represents an entire way of life. The domestication of reindeer began thousands of years ago, probably between 2,000 and 3,000 years ago in the northern regions of Eurasia. Since then, they have accompanied human migrations across the vast northern landscapes. For nomadic peoples, reindeer provide much more than food. Their meat supplies an important source of nutrients, while their milk supplements diets in areas where agriculture is nearly impossible. Their hides are used to make clothing, footwear, and shelters capable of withstanding extremely low temperatures. Their antlers are also used to create tools and everyday objects. In addition, these animals serve as transportation, pulling sleds across snow-covered landscapes for much of the year. Many families measure their wealth and stability by the size of the herds they own. As a result, the reindeer remains a vital link between human survival and one of the most challenging environments on Earth. The Siberian tiger, also known as the Amur tiger, is the largest cat species on Earth. Some males can exceed 660 pounds and reach lengths of more than 10 feet, turning every sighting into a rare spectacle of the natural world. The region where it lives is located near the Amur River and the Sikhote-Alin Mountains, a vast forested area that stretches across Russia's far eastern territories. The territory of a single individual can be enormous. In some cases, a male occupies an area exceeding 386 square miles. Traveling dozens of miles in just a few days is a normal part of its routine. Its primary prey includes wild boar, sika deer, red deer, and even large moose. In certain regions, a single adult moose can provide enough food for several days. The tiger makes the most of every successful hunt, returning repeatedly to a carcass as long as edible meat remains. This strategy reduces the need for frequent hunts and conserves energy during the harshest months of the year. Few people realize that this giant is also an excellent swimmer. Icy rivers, lakes, and waterways are not major obstacles. On some occasions, it crosses considerable stretches of water in search of food or new territory. This ability further increases its capacity to survive in a wide variety of environments across the vast Siberian region. For most of its life, it remains solitary. Males and females usually meet only during the breeding season. After mating, the mother assumes full responsibility for raising the young. During the first months, she keeps them hidden in protected areas of the forest, away from potential dangers. The history of this animal is also marked by difficult times. During the 20th century, illegal hunting and habitat destruction drastically reduced its population. There were periods when only a few dozen individuals remained in the wild. Fortunately, conservation efforts changed that situation. Its robust appearance, covered by a thick curtain of fur, seems as though it was designed for an era that most modern creatures never experienced. And in a way, that is true. The ancestors of this giant walked these lands during the Ice Age, sharing the landscape with woolly mammoths, woolly rhinoceroses, and other prehistoric giants that disappeared thousands of years ago. Few species carry such an ancient legacy. While many vanished as climate changes brought the last ice age to an end, the muskox found a way to endure. Its body became a true biological fortress against the cold. Its compact build reduces heat loss, while a thick layer of fat protects its organs from extreme temperatures. Covering all of this is an extraordinary coat, considered one of the most effective in the animal kingdom. The wool known as kiviut is the secret behind this remarkable resilience. Produced beneath the longer outer hairs, it creates a thermal barrier so effective that it surpasses the wool of many other Arctic-adapted species. Exceptionally soft and rare, it is highly valued around the world for its ability to retain warmth even under severe conditions. In the most remote regions of Siberia, especially in the Arctic tundra and areas near the Arctic Ocean, these herbivores spend much of the year facing powerful winds, constant snowstorms, and long periods of darkness. Unlike many animals that migrate long distances to escape harsh conditions, The muskox remains in its homeland throughout nearly the entire year. This requires extraordinary physical endurance and a unique ability to make use of scarce resources. Every season presents new challenges, but also opportunities for a survivor that learned to coexist with the cold long before the rise of human civilization. One of the most fascinating strategies of this species appears when danger approaches. Faced with wolves or other predators, the herd quickly abandons any sign of dispersal. Adult individuals position themselves side by side, forming a compact circle. The calves remain protected at the center of this living wall of muscle, horns, and courage. This defensive formation has existed for thousands of years and remains one of the most effective collective responses found in nature. It is no longer a wild animal, but it could not be left off this list. The Siberian husky did not emerge as a simple companion dog. Its history is deeply connected to the survival of peoples who lived for generations in some of the most isolated and demanding regions on Earth. The ancestors of this breed were developed by the Chukchi people, who inhabited the Chukotka Peninsula in northeastern Asia. For these communities, traveling long distances was a constant necessity. Villages separated by hundreds of miles needed to maintain contact, transport resources, and carry out hunting activities in regions where permanent roads practically did not exist. In this environment, the Siberian husky became far more than a domestic animal. It came to represent mobility, security, and cultural continuity. Its ability to pull sleds helped connect families, transport food, and ensure the movement of supplies even during the harshest times of the year. Over the centuries, these dogs were selected not for appearance, but for efficiency. Breeders valued endurance, intelligence, teamwork, and the ability to travel enormous distances while using relatively little energy. The result was an animal exceptionally adapted to the conditions of the far north. One of the most impressive characteristics of the Siberian husky is its ability to travel long distances. While many creatures must conserve energy when facing adverse conditions, it can maintain a steady pace throughout extended journeys. Teams of dogs often cover dozens of miles per day, crossing frozen plains, ice-covered rivers, and open areas battered by powerful winds. Its body structure was shaped for this type of work. Its moderate size reduces physical strain, while its balanced musculature favors endurance over brute strength. Every aspect of its anatomy appears refined to maximize efficiency during prolonged travel. Its protection against low temperatures is equally remarkable. The coat consists of two distinct layers. The outer layer repels moisture and snow, while the inner layer retains body heat with exceptional efficiency. This combination allows the dog to remain active even under conditions that challenge human endurance. Perhaps the most fascinating aspect, however, is its social behavior. The Siberian husky was bred to work as part of a team. On a sled, each dog has a specific role and depends on cooperation with the others. Communication between the animals and the musha was essential for facing storms, crossing dangerous terrain, and finding safe routes through vast territories. For a long time, These canine caravans represented the primary means of transportation across many regions of northern Asia. Before the arrival of modern vehicles, almost everything depended on them. Goods, equipment, fuel, hunting supplies, and even mail were transported by teams trained to endure extremely difficult journeys. The fame of these dogs spread far beyond Siberia during the early 20th century. Their endurance attracted the attention of explorers, adventurers, and sled race organizers. Before long, examples of the breed were taken to other parts of the world, where they demonstrated the same abilities that had made them indispensable to the indigenous peoples of the Arctic. I hope you enjoyed our video. Coming up next, we will share even more fascinating content about our planet. We hope you enjoy it.